If October 7th is an important day for Texans to register to vote, then according to Bob Kafka, head of disability voting group RevupTX, it's a crucial day to become a disability voter, to decide close down-ballot races, and to affect issues like Medicaid expansion, or even the fate of the Americans with Disabilities Act itself. This advocate of 40 years says don't sit this one out.
So address those people that are unregistered, say that are still on the sidelines. What do you say to them? Like, do things ever really change for people with disabilities?
They don't realize that all the support services, you could think of them as community integration, where it be home and community-based services at home, whether it's accessible, affordable, integrated housing, whether it's durable medical equipment, communication devices, mental health care, sensory communication. There are all these issues that affect our ability to live in the community as independently as possible is actually done by policymakers. And that's why our vote is so important. And it's so important for them to see the disability vote as a thing so that they will not ignore those policies when they get in office.
So what steps do I need to take before Election Day?
Well, obviously, we don't have in Texas online voter registration, but you can get a voter registration card at every library, at DPS offices, social services offices. You can just go to the Secretary of State website and you can just ask for one. You could go to the League of Women Voters, vote411.org, and you can get a voter registration card sent to you. You just need to fill it out and put it in the mail, and you're registered. And then what's really good in Texas is that we have early voting so that you don't necessarily have to wait till November 5th to actually do your vote. But the first step is getting registered before October 7th. Texas is a state where 30 days before the actual election, you need to be registered. And your registration card needs to be in your county election office by October 7th.
Oh, okay, great. So if they go through, say, like the League of Women Voters site online and order the card mailed to them, will they still make it in time, like to go through the back and forth exchange of paper?
Again, we are getting close. The mail is sometimes suspect, though you can print out a card and mail it in. There are different ways of doing it.
What about this thing? Okay, now there's doing stuff with the voter rolls right now, for integrity or whatever. Should they check first, like those that are registered already? Should they check first? And how do they do that? Like if they're still on the rolls?
Yeah, you can do that two ways, at least two ways. You can do it through the Secretary of State website, and it is very informative. A lot of it sometimes is like slogging through cement, but you can find out if you're registered on there. And again, the League of Women Voters is their website is easier, and you can check if you're registered. And the other thing, if you are registered but you change your address, you can also easily do that by using the Secretary of State's website.
There are 3.5 million Texans with disabilities. Add in their loved ones and the professionals and businesses that cater to the disabled, and the sum is a lot of political power. Kafka says it's vital to exercise that power now, when the stakes have never been higher.
People have to realize that their vote is important. And I don't want to overemphasize, the mechanics is relatively simple in many ways, but what really you have to be motivated to realize that it's very, very important that their vote get counted. Especially in maybe not presidential, Texas has been reliably mostly a red state. Mm-hmm. But, all the other elections could be very close. And so, if you only see the presidential election, you might say, well, I'm a Democrat and, Trump is going to win Texas, so I'm not going to vote. The Colin Allred, Ted Cruz vote is very, very close. Every state legislature is being elected. There could be resolutions from your city or county. There's a lot of things that your vote as a person with a disability or ally can really swing in the way that we want to see it pass. John, we're living through history. If Trump does prevail, the history of the Republican Party and our issues are just not very good, especially because, so much of the ADA is done by regulations, and businesses have always wanted to do away with federal regulations. Yeah. And though it doesn't seem possible, we could go back to a state-by-state enforcement of disability architectural barrier enforcement. I don't think it's scare tactics to think that might happen.
For KPFT Peoples News, this is John Moeller reporting.